Cousin Internet. It's me, Cousin Todd, with Mama's Comedy Show. And with me is Cousin John.
Hola, ladies. Stealing Francisco things since he never shows up for it.
We have a special podcast this week because the date as of right now, September 21st. But guess what? It's Halloween, motherfucker.
It is Halloween?
It is Halloween. Universal Studios is doing Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
And John and I got to go before the official opening. Doesn't that sound cooler?
It's exciting.
Yeah. What'd you think?
It was good. The streets were kind of lacking, but
that was my thought too. The streets were a little bit. Have you guys been yet? The streets are a little bit dead, as far as it just doesn't feel like there's a lot out there. But the Vamp 85 section was really fun, which is a scare zone that's 1985. It's New Year's of 1985, and you have all these dead celebrities like Prince and Michael Jackson, David Bowie. And those were the first ones I saw, and I was like, "Ooh, too soon." But then you're like, "Oh, okay." Cyndi Lauper is there, and who else? Boy George.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see all of these dead rock stars of the '80s, and the vampires are dressed all '80s out, and then there are 1980s victims who are drunk partiers, and they get attacked. That zone was fun. There was a dance review show out there where they did Thriller, with just hot vampires dancing.
Can never go wrong with that.
No, but the houses, because I got to go. Did you do all the houses?
I did them all. Yeah.
Yeah, I did all the houses too. Poltergeist and Scary Tales were my two favorite.
Yeah.
What were your big ones?
Those two, and I like Stranger Things.
Yeah,
Stranger
Things. That's
Stranger Things,
and that's the one that there's going to be the long line for. That's the one that as people come into the park, because that's the featured attraction.
One, yeah. Well, it's the first one as you come into the house, and it's the featured house.
Right.
So it's just one's going to be crazy long.
I actually kind of not got into an online argument because I really tried to avoid those, but there was a guy on a post today who someone posted a picture of them outside of the Scary Tales house, and it was this girl. She was just making a face like, I'm excited, and the wait was only 15 minutes. And I know because I went for a second time this past Wednesday, and that was the time to go because I didn't wait more than 20 minutes for any house.
Oh, yeah.
And she posted that picture, and this guy was like, yeah, enjoy your long conga lines, and I'll never go back there again, and it's not what it used to be, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I get it. I jumped in, and I was like, you know what? I get it. I get that the lines are long, and I've done Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream, which I really recommend. I don't know if I said this last week, but I had a perfect analogy for Halloween Horror Nights and Howl-O-Scream. I feel like Halloween Horror Nights is the girl you're dating that is super, super hot, but she knows that she's super, super hot. And so she's just relying on the fact that, listen, I'm the hottest thing that you've got going for you. Where Howl-O-Scream is the girl that, maybe not quite so hot. Maybe she's got one leg longer than the other, but she's going to put the work in for you. Because Howl-O-Scream, they do a really good job of their scares.
Yeah. They're really proud of them, too.
They are. They're really,
you can see
really
it in their
good.
eyes whenever they scare someone.
Well, they set people up, too. You know, the difference is when I walk on the streets of Horror Nights, everyone wants to jump out at you, which is fine. That's fun if everyone's jumping out at you. Howl-O-Scream, one year I went, this dude was just dragging a shovel on the ground, making that noise. And all he was doing was making people look at him because the real characters were setting up behind you. Yeah. And I was like, that's awesome. That is really kind of a smart scare. Nothing against Universals, but I like that methodical.
Well, that's what we did for the Bayou of Blood.
Yeah.
The Stiltwalkers would go and get everybody's attention while the scare actors are mingling through the crowd.
Right.
The costumes didn't really stand out, so everybody just looked straight at the Stiltwalkers, expecting the scares from them. So the Stiltwalkers just kind of walked around and got in everybody's face while the
Right.
scare actors came up from the sides.
This dude today, I said, listen, I get it, man. Like, Howl of Scream is great. I went and did a haunted house that you walk through by yourself in Japan, and that was a completely different experience. It was great. And Universal has gotten too successful. I 100% get it, but you cannot deny how good their houses are, the attention to detail.
Especially this year.
The
Like,
Poltergeist
they put
house,
a lot more detail in it than they usually do this year.
I geeked out so hard in the Poltergeist house when the stake moves across the counter on its own. I was like, that was the coolest part, but just that little detail. And if you've seen the original Poltergeist, you know that moment, and it's cool. I felt the same way last year about the Shining house. I felt like it was a really smart. You entered the Shining house through the hedge maze, and it was more of this psychological. You're going into the mind of Jack, which is a maze of derangement. And there were problems. You know, the fact that all of the guys wearing the Jack like balding heads, like it didn't match their
they were
skin.
all frozen.
Yeah, but like the house was beautiful. I felt the same way. Poltergeist, beautiful house, fantastic job. And this guy was like, "Yeah, but you're just going through a conga line." I was like, "Pick your night, man." Like, because I just went and it was 15-minute wait for that, and I was able to go through with nobody in front of me.
Also, if you don't immediately walk in behind the person, you can stop a second and let them get in front of you.
On the busy nights, they do. They try to push you all through. But for me, it's not because I don't jump scare, so I don't like that. Doesn't affect me. I really love walking through it and seeing the story and seeing the sets. And Universal, hands down, has the most beautiful sets out of any that I've been to. And like I went to a couple years ago, I did Knott's Scary Farm, which, to be fair, Knott's Scary Farm came first. Universal ripped off the idea for Horror Nights from Knott's Scary Farm, and Knott's has a Halloween show called The Hanging, which is a musical comedy review, which is where Bill and Ted came from, which isn't there this year at Horror Nights.
First year.
First year it's not here. But Universal, you can't argue. You can argue any point. You could argue the cost. You could argue how crowded it is. You could argue the lines. But you have to at least show them some sort of respect for the amount of work that they put into those houses because they're amazing. And this guy was just, but, and then the girl who made that original post, she said, this guy got, trespassed. A couple years ago, which means he got kicked out of the park and he's not allowed back in. So that's why he was like,
he's so angry.
He was going to take everyone down. Like someone from Universal was going to see this post and go, "Holy shit, this guy's going to ruin us." So Poltergeist was great. Scary Tales is just kind of a friend of mine who works in the attraction said before they were officially open, she said, "You're really going to like Scary Tales this year." And I immediately, my heart sank, and I was like, if they do something with fucking Peter Pan, like I've got a lawsuit, and no, Peter Pan's not in there. But it's fairy tale characters. You have Rapunzel, where her hair is
all over the place.
Her hair is alive and killing people. And she has no control over her hair, but it's killing people and hanging them. And who else is in that house?
3 little pigs.
Yep, the 3 little pigs.
Killed the big bad wolf.
Yep, they're
crazy.
eating him.
Yeah,
wearing his skin.
wearing his pelt.
Yeah, it's just a really. There's a lot of detail. You can walk through those houses multiple times and really see something different. Hansel and Gretel.
That one was good.
That one's creepy.
Cool. The Goldilocks, the 3 bears.
Oh yeah. The bears at the end.
Yeah.
Now that bear, I went through that house with Ross Paget, who's a local stand-up comic, and that bear jumped out at him at the end, and he jumped so high, but then he started laughing and he was like, "The bear is back!" The bear. He was so excited to have that bear.
Yeah.
Another house that I feel like is great this year is Dead Exposure. That's the one where it's black and white. Strobe.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to my buddy Jason about this today. So a lot of people, like, there's a problem. You know when they just throw strobes at you in a house? And it's just annoying. It hurts your eyes. They used it so well in this because it wasn't a constant strobe. It was almost like lightning. You would just get like a boom, 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 and then nothing. And then boom, boom, boom. So as
That's
you're
the one
walking,
where they had like the flat cutouts and everything. They
Yeah.
had, like, yeah.
and they had the subway,
Yeah.
which was like a beautiful like room. But you'd walk into a room and you would see flash, 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 and you would see the entire layout of the room, and then it's pitch black. And then 2 seconds later, you get another flash, 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 and there's someone standing in the room that you didn't see the first time. Like it was a really cool scare, and that wasn't someone jumping out at you. That was more of an atmospheric, creepy thing.
Yeah. Like Paranormal Activity. Like it's there and then it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, because then when the next time the lights go out, you're like, well, where the fuck is this person going now? But yeah, that house was very stylized. It was very, like you said, flat, two-dimensional, almost comic booky, mixed with a little bit of like a maybe like a film noir element to it, and maybe that was just the black and white.
It was supposed to be themed in France, right?
Yeah, it was like a war. It was World War II in France, zombie outbreak. We're probably butchering the story, but yeah, it was. That was the first house I went through. I went through that one with cousin Megan from Mama's and cousin Jason from Mama's, and that first night that we went, I went through all of those with Jason and Megan, and we determined there's an oh shit rating for each house, and we determined that by how many times Megan would scream oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, and that was the first one we went through, and that was like a 9 oh shits from Megan. But yeah, just when you guys go, or if you go, if you're in the Orlando area, or if you're coming down, I know I have family who comes from North Carolina to go to Horror Nights.
Tell them Todd and John sent you.
Yes,
and you'll be escorted off the property.
Yeah, just say bitch. But yeah, when you go through that house, the subway scene was my favorite of that. They had a really good scare in that scene. What do you think? The Halloween house.
I don't actually remember it.
It was fine. I mean, there's 10 houses this year, so there's more than there ever have been.
Yeah, two more than usual.
If you're pressed for time, I would say you could skip the Halloween house, which is a heartbreaker because Michael Myers is awesome. But you could also skip Blumhouse.
Yeah.
Blumhouse was kind of the
skip the second half of Blumhouse.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Blumhouse was just 2. It was Happy Death Day and Purge. But it was like the Purge was just the last 2 rooms. Are you guys familiar with Happy Death Day? It's like the movie Groundhog's Day, where he's reliving the same day over and over. It's this girl who's reliving the same day over and over, except every day she gets murdered. So she has to solve who's murdering her. And that house does something clever. Every morning after she's been murdered, she wakes up in this dorm room where she'd apparently hooked up with this guy the night before. So she wakes up in his dorm room, and then everything plays out exactly the same. So as you're going through the house, and this was clever, each room, or like every other room, is that dorm room. So it's like you're repeating the process that she's repeating. But there was they had like dummies in the bed.
Yeah.
And that was kind of really? Like you put dummies in? And I was expecting one to be a real person.
I get that one because then they all look the same.
Right.
You'll have to try.
You racist. They all look the same.
All dummies look the
all
same.
All white girls are dummies. I get it. I get what you're saying. What else was there this year? Was the carnival one?
Oh, Rust in Peace?
No, the carnival graveyard. Was that it?
It wasn't called. No, Rust in Peace was previous year.
Yeah,
it's Carnival Graveyard.
Carnival Graveyard, which is if you imagine hillbillies who run a junkyard built a carnival, and they don't like when people are trespassing on their property, because you'd see like various people who have been murdered in different ways, with the sign trespasser, or as I like to say, trespasser, on them. But that house was good too. Again, it was all theming. Like I could tell you a rough story, of it, which is basically what I told you. Rednecks in a junkyard built a carnival to kill
I didn't
people.
Get junkyard from that one.
The what?
I didn't get junkyard. I just got run down carnival.
Oh, but see, like when you walk in, you see like hubcaps on that front. I don't know. Maybe
well,
let's go through again.
The usual carnival, though, isn't it?
Let's take the podcast equipment and go through again. Actually, you're not allowed to film or record anything.
Yeah. Not without special permission.
Right. Yeah, you can't even pull out your phone. They will yell at you.
Yeah.
Going back to that, like the thing that I would want to get a photo of more than anything is in Scary Tales, the first room you have like the Wicked Witch. She flies over your head.
She wasn't there whenever I went through.
Really?
Yeah, I was upset.
The first night I went, I did that one 3 times. The first time I went, the girl playing the Wicked Witch was caught. Like she was just hanging. She wasn't swinging. She was hanging from her harness because she didn't have enough momentum to get her back to where she needed to launch herself from. So she was just kind of dangling and spinning around. And I looked up and I was like, "Dude, am I supposed to push you back or
am I supposed to help?
what can I do to help you right now?" But the last room, or one of the last rooms in that, there's this corridor that you look down, and you see this billowing smoke, like just kind of start to roll in, and then the Wicked Witch of the West just emerges. She's flying at you through this smoke. That was like a super cool visual that one from Megan generated an oh shit. And I was just like, this is gorgeous.
Yeah. I did have the similar thing, and it was the B movie.
Slaughterhouse Cinema.
Yeah.
I loved that one too.
That one was good. There's one of them, this gangster, 80s gangster guy was kind of like up on top of you, and he just kind of like falls.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna fall on top of you, and then just bounces back up. I'm like, that was badass.
Yeah, no, the Slaughter Cinema is like B movies. They just made up B movies like Swamp Yeti or
Pumpkin Guts.
Pumpkin Guts. What was another one that was, oh shit, what was the one that was, I saw the trailer over and over outside in the queue. It was...
What was in the trailer?
Midnight Snack. It was basically these little like critter creatures that...
Oh, yeah.
That kill you at night. But, and here's where, again, I have to give Universal props on this. Before each room, there was like a little preview room where you see the poster for the B movie that you're about to walk through. So you see this poster, and you'll see, like Swamp Yeti. On that poster, it looks like an 80s B movie. You can read the entire poster, even look down like the directed by credits and look at all of those things, and there's even hidden jokes in those areas. I mean, that's a cool little thing to look through and see all of those things, and then you walk through this house that's very tongue-in-cheek. It has a sense of humor to it. And those are my favorite. Like, I really prefer the ones where there is a sense of humor, where you, like, I loved last year's Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Oh, yeah, that one was good.
But I really loved that show, and I think I'm one of 10 people that watched that show.
I've watched some of it.
Going through that house, like, anytime I would go through with people, they're like, yeah, I don't know any of this. And I was like, oh, if you did, it's great. But yeah, like that house cracked me up. What are we missing? I know we're missing. Seeds of Extinction.
Yeah, that was my least favorite house.
Was it?
Yeah.
I just thought that one was okay. That was an original IP.
Yeah.
It's you don't have to go. Well, yeah. Beth is here in our audience, and she said she doesn't have to go because we're ruining it. All right, I'm gonna spoil
Horror Night spoilers, by the way.
I'm gonna spoil the entire Horror Nights event. People jump out at you
in costume.
What?
I know.
Ruined. Yeah, that one is like a post-humanity. The like plant life has taken over the planet.
Yeah.
There were a lot of puppets in that one.
It was all puppets. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was fine with that. I just thought, like, again, it looked beautiful. I loved walking through the scenery. There's one area where the floor kind of skews up to like a 45-degree angle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where you're walking and you're kind of at an angle, and
It was a reuse set from the Sunken Ship.
right.
A few years back.
I do remember that, and I remember that same feeling walking across it because it's a little uneasy because you're
And
like,
then
I
they
hope
add
nothing
strobes
jumps
on
at
top
me.
of it.
Right. I hope nothing jumps out at me right now while I'm off balance and just tumble down. But the other night when I went again, I was with my girlfriend, and I was like, how do people with wheelchairs do this? Because
They have a path. That goes
they had a
online.
separate path.
Yeah.
I saw it once we finished, and I was like, oh. See, I think the real horror nights would have been, yeah, you guys in the wheelchairs, go for it.
Go on.
See if you
up
can
there.
make it. That would actually be an interesting house. Universal couldn't do it because just demand you have to get so many people through. But imagine a house where they put you in a wheelchair and you have someone pushing you,
Yeah.
and you have no control over where you go. There was one year I had the idea, and I put it like more of a Facebook joke, but I said, let's create an awkward house. Instead of a haunted house, it's an awkward house. And you
Just
walk
people
in.
sitting in the corner staring at you.
Yeah, or more so, it was, give me your suggestions for an awkward house. Like you walk in the room and someone says, hi, how's it going? And you're like, good. And then they just stare at you until you feel uncomfortable. And then you go to the next room where someone's like, my dog has cancer. And you're just like, I'm sorry.
But I brought you your birthday present.
Or just, an extra long arm touch, or like an uncle who wants to give you a hug. And like that would truly be terrifying. Oh, what was there's a...
The family reunion house. Grandma comes up with the sloppy kiss.
Yeah. Dad's drunk. There was a... this is going to drive me crazy. I really wanted to do it. It's an overnight experience. It's like a horror camp. And what you do is you pay your money, obviously, and you get a tent, and they put you out in the middle of the woods where you and like one other person are sleeping in this tent. And all you know is that at some point in the night, someone's going to cut that tent open and chase you through the woods. And I tried to get people to go with me. It was the closest it came to Orlando was Jacksonville. And I tried to get people to go with me. And I was like, hey, do you want to do this camping thing? And they're like, okay. I was like, all right, awesome. And they're like, well, what is it? And I was like, well,
someone's going to try and kill you while we go camping.
Yeah. We're going to be asleep. And at some point, some guy's going to cut an opening into the tent that wasn't there before and chase us through the woods. And then their immediate reaction is, why do I want to do that?
Why would I do?
Yeah,
why would I put myself through that?
I'm not doing it. And I was like, they're not really going to kill you. But then I thought, ooh, what if? What if the guy was like, you know what, I'm fucking tired of my job. I'm going to do it for real tonight. That really kind of keeps the threat there. You have to have the threat.
Yeah.
You can't threaten to beat your children unless you actually smack them around every once in a while. Otherwise, they're going to call you on your bluff. That's parenting advice from...
Parenting 101 from Todd.
Just like Halloween Horror Nights, they should murder someone every year, just one person.
Just one.
Because then, and you're
Someone
like,
on death row, just like a sacrifice.
and then they're like, hey, so it hasn't happened yet. Enjoy the park tonight, guys. And then the whole time, when someone actually jumps out at you, you're like, oh shit, this is it.
It's gonna be me.
Have you seen any of the documentaries on those extreme houses? They have these houses that are where you sign a waiver. There's a documentary on them.
Oh, where
There's
like they can grab
no
you and everything.
fucking way that I would do this. Not only do they grab you, they will tie you up.
Yeah.
And it could take up to 4 to 6 hours to get through these houses. They will make you drink mystery fluids. They will spit in your face.
Tie you down and do water torture. And,
I mean, watch the videos of this, and you see these before and afters of people going, yeah, I'm really excited about this, to, this was the worst thing I've ever done in my life. It was horrible. And it sounds horrific. But there's a documentary, and it's unbelievable. Because they tell you, yeah, we're going to do all of this stuff to you. And people are like, okay. Cut to 4 hours later, someone is throwing up all over themselves, and this like hillbilly is just laughing at them.
There's no safe word.
No, there's no exit. There's no getting out. Unless you have some sort of heart attack where they have to call paramedics, You fake a heart attack. You better hope that guy doesn't call your bluff. Die, bitch. And then afterwards, he's like, I knew she was faking it. That's why I peed on her leg. Yeah, the one I did in Japan, where I went through by myself, that was actually really cool. And the story for that is there are these suicides, and the suicides are caused. No, it wasn't Suicide Forest, but there were these suicides, and the suicides are caused by a curse. And you're going to walk through these scenes where the people have killed themselves, and there are shrines in each room, and they give you these white flowers, like this little bouquet of white plastic flowers. And they said in order to keep the curse from following you home, when you walk into a room and you see the shrine, you have to put a flower on the shrine. And one, it forces you to go to a part of the room that you might not want to go to. But two, these are bright white flowers. And if you've ever worked in a scare zone or a scare house, your eyes get adjusted to the dark. You will see those people walking with flowers. So you could be completely hidden, and these people are just like shining beacons walking through your area. And the first room I went through, this was like really good. I think walking through by myself was a different experience because, like I said, I don't get scared in these houses. I don't jump. But there was something different about this. Walking through the first room where someone had like tipped their refrigerator over on them and like they'd squashed their head. So you're in a kitchen, you see this tipped over refrigerator, and you walk past it, and as I'm about to exit the room, there's this loud brr, brr, brr behind me, and I turned around and there's a phone on the kitchen counter, and it's lighting up and vibrating. Brr, brr, brr. And I'm by myself, so I'm like, am I supposed to go over there? What? So I walk over. The only way to get there is to step over the body that has the refrigerator on it. So in my head, I'm going, this is a fucking actor. Like, this actor is here, and he's gonna like grab my dick when I step over him, or something. So there was this like nervousness of waiting for something to happen. Nothing happened when I stepped over him, but that was in my head. And you stepped over him. I looked at the phone, and look at like there's a text message on the phone, which was in Japanese, so I didn't know what it said. It could have said, "More eggs, please." And then you walk from room to room, and like I said, when you see that altar and you're walking into that altar, your senses are heightened because you're just expecting something because you don't want to go there. Like, you want to stay on this path, and then you see, oh shit, I have to go over there. I don't see where the path is. I don't see what's around that path. Something's going to jump at me. Because when you're going through Horror Nights, when you're going through any other house, you know when something is going to jump at you. Like, or you at least know something is going to jump at me. That was a really cool experience. And when I walked out of there, that kind of changed my idea of what like a good scare is, especially in person. And I think that's something about Horror Nights that's good and not so good. It's good because it's all in fun. Even if you are with someone who is terrified, like Megan screaming, "Oh shit, oh shit." She was getting scared, but she was still having a good time because there's not really a threat.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're going through one of those extreme houses, I wouldn't say, oh, shit. I wouldn't open my mouth at all because who knows what they're going to put in there. There was an ex-girlfriend of mine who was terrified of haunted houses. We went to Halloween Horror Nights with a big group of people, and I was begging her all night because we would go through the house, and she would just stand outside. She would stand outside of the scare zone. She's like, I don't fuck with any of this. I am going to stay right here. I begged her. I was like, please just go through one house. Please go through one house. And she's like, okay, fine. I'll go through one house. So we're walking, and this was when Kong was still open, the old Kong. And the house was, you're walking through the streets of New York, which was like the ground below the ride. As we're walking like this first corner, these stilt characters come like walking up. Everyone panics and starts running. My ex gets her foot stuck between a curb and a fence, so she can't move.
Shit.
And everyone left her except for me. And basically, she's screaming, fell to the ground. All of the characters see, ha, 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 ha. We've got her. And it was like 5 characters just descend on her. And the whole time, like, she's screaming, and they're like, "Bah!" And in my head, I'm like, she's never fucking going through another house again. Like, this was my opportunity.
This is it.
And it's ruined.
Ruined.
But all in all, what would you? Let's rate Horror Nights. I would say last year was their best year for houses. I didn't think there was a dud in the
Last year?
Yeah.
I thought this year was much better for houses.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, last year I went through all those houses.
I thought they
last
were
year.
lacking last year.
We need to do a regular show on Horror Nights. Like Siskel and Ebert. Which one died? Ebert? Roger Ebert? All right, you're Ebert.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and what do you rate the streets of Horror Nights?
This year?
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10.
7.5.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll say 7.5 for the streets.
The Chucky zone.
The Chucky thing was really cool.
It wasn't scary anyway. It was just really cool.
Yeah, and for, like you guys who haven't seen this, it's Chucky from Child's Play, but it's a puppet who sits there and talks to you and threatens to murder you and your family. My only problem with that is when I was there, I could see the puppeteer.
Yeah.
Which that's the type of thing that bothers me, because that's fixable. And maybe they will fix that. But yeah, that was a really cool experience to just stand there and watch Chucky yell at people.
Apparently he does kill somebody.
Does he?
Yeah.
That's the thing about the Child's Play movies is he's still a doll.
Yeah.
You know, like
when he jumps on your face and they're just like, I can't get him up. Like,
yeah,
he weighs an ounce.
Yeah, he's still a 2-pound doll. Just throw him.
Yeah.
Just throw him, and then when he comes back at you, just punt him. He's got a knife. It's not like, yeah, he might get you, but that's not going to kill you.
No.
He might slice your shin.
You might not be able to run very fast afterwards.
Yeah, but you know what? Just pop his head off. I mean, seriously. Did you have a little sister? You know how easily those dolls are? You just rip their heads off.
My sister, we knew she was done playing with her dolls because she liked changing their clothes but not putting them back on. Like, she'll take them off, and we'll know she's done playing with that doll because there would just be a naked doll laying there. So we'll go and pop the head off the doll and hang the head in the backyard and just leave the doll.
As a warning to other dolls who may encroach upon your territory.
And she never cared because she was done with it. She's done playing with it.
Yeah. Now you go to her house. Now you see headless, naked hookers everywhere. All right. Houses. I would say this year houses. There's 10 houses, and there were really only 2 that I didn't like. I would say an 8 out of 10 for the houses.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
The 8 out of 10. Like I said, Bloomhouse was kind of a letdown. And then
the Halloween house, I honestly don't like. I know I went through it, but I don't remember a single bit, and I wasn't even drinking.
You know what bothered me about the Halloween house? Well, one of the Michael Myers popped out at me, and he was about 6 inches shorter than me, and I'm not a tall guy, but I was like, "Oh, buddy, what happened?" At least put him up on one of the
on a stool or something.
Right? Yeah,
give him a stool.
But the house itself was fine. I just think they may have had trouble staffing that house if a short Michael Myers popped out. So yeah, I'd say 8 out of 10. Stranger Things was a beautiful house. If you've seen the show,
the casting for it was really good.
Oh God, the girl at the end who stands there as Elle, just with her arm out like this, her shoulder has got to be wrecked by the end of the day because she just does that classic pose, the nosebleed. I'm pretty sure by the end of the night that's a real nosebleed just from the strain of holding her arm up all night long. But yeah, so what would that average be? Somebody who's good at math, a 7.5 and an 8 out of 10.
Steven?
I guess that's 5%. What is it? 75%? No, 7.5 would be 75.
No.
Yeah, so we'd say
I failed math, so
7.75. I think that's right. That's good enough for me. 7.75 out of
Sounds
10
right.
is a good. It was a good year. I think if you go, you're not going to regret going. I have family coming in town. I'm going again with them, and I have my game plan as for when we get there, what houses we hit first.
Do you do the start at the back?
That was what we did the first night. Was we were like, oh, let's start at the back, and I feel like every single person had that same plan.
Well, we didn't do that because it was the employee preview, so like they all knew to go to the back.
Right.
So we started at the front. And
Stranger Things is going to be a long wait, no matter what. So I feel like you may, if you get in early enough, you have to hit that one first. Maybe
like at the start of the night, I would say get that one first. But if you don't, go do the other houses. If you go late,
also, if you can help it, go in the middle of the week.
Yeah, that's
Wednesday night, for real. Go Wednesday night. You're gonna have a great time.
Those are my favorite nights to go.
Because it's not dead to where you're like, where is everybody? But you go to a house and it's a 20-minute wait, and you're like, this is great.
Like, on those nights, the longest is normally like 45 minutes.
And for God's sakes, don't punch someone just because they jump out and scare you. They're doing their job.
Yeah. You will be removed from property.
You'll be termed, or not termed. You'll be trespassed.
Yep.
Trespassed. Which both nights that I was there, I saw an event where someone got punched in one of the houses, and this character was bleeding, so they had to shut that attraction down so that they could completely clean it. It's like, I get it. Someone jumped out at you. They're not going to touch you. Don't. So hold on. This reminded me. There's I'm not making fun of anyone who is differently abled. Let me just put that out there right now. One of my friends when I was growing up was this older guy who he was deaf, but he had those hearing aids, and so he also took karate classes. We're walking through, like, when I was growing up, one of the big things was, like, in the mall, closed down shops in the mall would be turned into haunted houses, and you would go, or even like the grocery stores that were empty would be converted into these haunted houses, and you would go through them. Very first room, I walk in with this guy who, before we would go in, he turns off his hearing aids because I guess the noise bothered him, or it was easier to not scare him if you couldn't hear. So it was like a defense mechanism. The very first person that jumps out, he just clocks this guy in the face, and the guy goes, "Hey, buddy, what the fuck are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm sorry." But it was, I'm not going to do his accent, but made me laugh. Anyway, yeah, don't punch the people. They're just doing their job.
No.
All right. John, what did you learn tonight?
Nothing.
That's
this
good.
Is a waste of a night.
All right. And I learned something, too.
R.I.P.
The R.I.P. experience. Actually, cousin Katie, who does Mamas from time to time, is doing the R.I.P. experience. She's done that for the past 4 years. If you've got the money to spend, go for it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see why not, because it's so busy. Because it's so busy, I would say go for it. But if you go on a Wednesday night, don't
bother.
Yeah, save your money.
Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, definitely. But yeah, I learned something tonight too. I learned that the girl who plays Elle in the Stranger Things house is going to have a jacked right shoulder at the end of this event. All right, we're Mama's Comedy Show. We're here every Friday night at 10 p.m. Call 407-363-1985. You can find me, Todd, on Twitter and Instagram at Todders, or Snapchat and Xbox Live. Doody Poo Poo. DOODIEPOOPOO. John, where can people find you?
Still in the back of the theater, masturbating.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.